was told to deliver. I was told to deliver this message. You think you're invincible because you got money, bombs, guns, and planes, killing babies, innocent people. I think you're insane. Chaos and destruction is the name of your game. Somebody's got to stop you before the whole world goes up in flames. So he told me to tell you, I'll fight
for my brothers. We can go to war. Fighting for my father, I will give my life for. I feel so alone in this white man's world. Whip it in the kitchen, watch that white turn pearl. Standing on the corner, standing on my phone. Standing with my gangsters, but I'm standing on my own. If you said to me alone, split you like you did alone. Sacrifice my life, understanding each his own. Toast to the keys of success. Bel Air rose on my breath. I've been a student since '03, and we can fight till we see peace.
I fight like that. 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 I fight like that.
Let me holler at you for a minute, give you game. Real scrappy, love to bada Buddha bang. Trigger happy, and everybody in the game. You shot your family and didn't even know it, man. Same rules, same code, with a different slang. Struck him out, now they took him out the picture frame. Mama, don't cry, we gon' get by. 2 weeks later, got killed in a drive-by. Why must we fight amongst each other? Reach one, each one, teach one, my brother. I teach them how to fight on the grass and in the class. Snoop Dogg, all stars, yes sir, they coming fast. D1, football, we won. Now proud of my son, Lil Snoop, yes sir, cause he won. Right on, SC, fight on. We 100, keep it coming, dip, slip, slide on, light on.
I fight like that. 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 I fight like that.
Watching the warriors, the story of the rebels. You from the ghetto, did you know never to settle? I'm shooting common on the streets, I'm a pharaoh. Battling in African-American apparel. This on a t-shirt, youngins doing street work. Grinding till they teeth hurt, that's because they need work. Working till the feet hurt, trying to get my soul right. Used to be on old bikes, serving them that cold white. Wars in the winters, the block is hot in summers. Today's mathematics, we know it's strength in numbers. To the bosses and the runners, the hustlers and the stunners. We fight for the hundreds, we fight for the oneness.
He fights with the heat. He fights with the sleet. He said, I am who I am. I can't be beat. Nobody has won a war against me.
I fight like that. 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 I fight.
All of the nations of the earth as we speak are angry. They're angry because governments cannot suffice the needs of their people. They're angry because a few have gotten wealthy at the expense of the many, and the poor and the sick and the weak and the unlearned multiply. and the value of their lives are diminished by the rich and the powerful, so that when human life is devalued, that in the eyes of man you are unworthy of the gift of life, then it is easy for another human being to take the life of another human being that he or she has devalued. Black life in America is devalued. Hispanic life is devalued. Even poor white life is devalued. There's a way that I have to behave. I'm free, but I'm not free to rob you of yours. I'm not free to take from you what does not belong to me. So if I will construct my life according to these righteous principles, then between man and man, man and woman, peace. Between race and race, peace. Between rich and poor, peace. We have our beautiful Mexican family. This once was theirs. So you can't say to them they are aliens. That's a horrible word to use for former owners. I see my indigenous family here. Many tribes, but they're really one great nation of people that now must be reunited with themselves. So it's their time now, as well as ours, that God would intervene in our affairs and bring the bottom rail to the top. The government is not rehabilitating soldiers. When they send you away to kill. When you come home, they gotta reconstitute you for civilian life again. Make sure you have a job so you can take care of your family, but they're not doing it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, a woman can do anything that a man does, and the only thing he forbids the woman to do is the thing that degrades her. So how high can you go? High as you want to. Why would God allow the female to wear his attributes if you can't be a manifestation of that attribute? Women, you got to be set free. What God has put within you must be cultivated, must be developed, and must be used for the advancement of a nation and a world. I said to myself, Mr. President, why the hell don't you go to the wicked police department? Why the hell don't you stand up and tell them that your killing of black youth and brown youth is not gonna hold no more? Why don't you stand up? God's world is in need of a truth that will set up a government where everybody can live in peace under real freedom real justice, and real equality. This city has always fascinated me, the city of Frankfurt. Known to be a city of trade and economic growth. As a kid, I was amazed by handing over a piece of paper for ice cream, toys, and candy. Handing over such a paper and receiving a toy racetrack in return, I just could not believe it. Where could I get this magic paper? This idea I couldn't get out of my mind. I started asking questions and read every book I could find. I learned the money was backed by gold as a paper form to save us carrying it around. Something of real value behind the paper. But everything was changed. The value was capped and the gold standard, as it was called, was abolished. Since then, the value of money has been the biggest lie of all. The dollar bill is now just a paper subject to inflation and devaluation. This must stop. The solution, returning to a piece of gold that you can actually hold, and it holds value or even better cash gold, paper pressed and refined with real gold. A masterpiece solution, a forgery-proof, totally digital cryptocurrency. Here I am in the city of money, but not as a banker or a gold dealer. The Frankfurter Book Fair has invited me to read from my books that will help the world believe in gold again. Think Big will help show people how to be successful. I am very proud to be here.
I got something to tell you today. Are there any dreamers in the house? Oh, I came to talk to some dreamers today. Give me a little bit more power. I come to talk to some dreamers today. I came to talk to some people who are pregnant with purpose. I came to talk to some people who are on the verge of doing something wonderful in their lives. There are three things I want to give you. These things are very, very important. But as you begin to understand these things, I think they're going to be critical to your development. Nobody does anything great for God until you get to the point that you understand and begin to embrace these things. Are you a dreamer? I say, are you a dreamer? I say, are you a dreamer? It's very, very important that you understand the things that I'm sharing with you today. I feel like I'm a man on a mission. I feel like God sent me to you for a reason. I am pregnant to deliver this word. Every time I get this word out, I feel a little bit better. Somebody needs this word. Somebody's life is going to be changed today. Somebody's on the verge of going to another level. You've been held up and held back and hindered by people who didn't understand where you were coming from, because they didn't see it and they didn't perceive it and they didn't understand it. But God is getting ready to do something new and something fresh and something significant in your life. Oh, do you hear what I'm saying? If you're going to be effective, number one, you must identify the source of your dream. You must identify the source of your dream. Where did your dream come from? This is very important that you understand it, because some of us have inherited dreams from parents and mentors and people who wanted to influence us and people who wanted to live vicariously through you. So they start pointing you toward what they think you ought to do. And if your dream is born through somebody else's desire, you could be destroyed trying to fulfill it.
People always wanted a doctor in their family, and they always wanted a dentist in their family, and always wanted a lawyer in their family. And so they decide they're going to steer you in that direction. And you're miserable trying to be something for which God didn't really call you to do, and you weren't created to do it, and you're frustrated trying to do something that's really not you. Somebody who wants grandkids before they die. And so you go out and marry somebody and get pregnant so mama can see her grandkids, and you end up miserable for 30 years to fulfill somebody else's dream of it. Oh, grandma says you got a preacher's head, and everybody starts sending you to Bible college, and you end up preaching for 20 years, but you're miserable and out of place because you really haven't fulfilled your dream. You've received the dream from other people. Domineering, overbearing, manipulative people who speak into your life and control you. Domineering husbands, domineering wives, manipulative people who try to make you be happy to be something that they want you to be, and you're living out somebody else's dream. And as long as you're living out somebody else's dream, you are a prisoner, a slave to their imagination, locked up to the prison of their idea, chained to their opinion, and you'll never be free. You might be rich, you might be famous, you might get the house on the hill, but you'll always be miserable until you find out, God, why am I here? What did you create me to do? What? Oh. You must identify the source of your dream. When you're identifying the source of your dream, you got to rule out dreams that are born out of brokenness. Dreams that are born out of bad beginnings. You're trying to prove something to your first husband. You're trying to show your first boyfriend that you can live without him. You're trying to show your sister that you made it without her support. You're trying to prove something to the neighbors across the street. You've been through abuse and you're trying to get even with life for something that it took you through. All these things are dreams that are not good dreams. They're nightmares. They end in agony and despair because they were not born correctly. These dreams are born out of the flesh. They're born out of fleshly issues and problems that take hold in your life. And they're born because you're trying to prove something to somebody who may not ever change their mind in the first place. You cannot allow somebody's opinion to become your idol. Can you handle this? You got to rule out dreams that are born out of your own fleshly desire to be seen, to be heard, to be recognized, to be different, to be impressive, to be accepted. Oh, it's getting tight now. This requires deep honesty. I mean, you might spend a year or two just going through this first point, because it really takes some nerve to look yourself in the face and say, why am I doing this? And I mean, really be honest. Strip off all them little scriptures you wrapped around what you wanted to do and take a good naked look at why are you really doing this. If you don't get the nerve to ask yourself the tough question about where your dream came from, you're going to end up in a nightmare. Like Sarah, who ends up with an Ishmael by a woman that she later has to put out of her house because the whole thing was born out of the flesh. And God told Abraham, he said, I'm going to bless you, but I'm not going to bless you through anything that was born out of your flesh, born out of your pride, born out of your strife, born out of your need to be recognized. And some people need to understand that your life has been put on hold for years. The enemy couldn't stop you from going forward, but he let you have an Ishmael because he comes for three things. He comes to steal, to kill, and destroy. And if he can't destroy you, he'll try to steal your life away from you, getting you to spend your life trying to do something that is not going to be profitable. And the worst kind of servant you can be in the house of God is an unprofitable servant. Profit is what you have left when the transaction is over. You got to write fast because I'm loaded today, baby. Profit is what you have left when the transaction is over. And when you start seeing years pass by and you don't have anything to profit, you've got to get the nerve to look at your dream and say, why am I doing what I'm doing? And ask yourself the tough questions so that you don't try to get the promise through an Ishmael. Look at somebody and say, God's going to change your life today. In fact, right now, I believe that God wants to liberate you from everything that's entangled you from finding the purpose of God in your life and living out that purpose and living out that dream with a sense of fulfillment. Some of you are literally going to feel handcuffs fall off of you, chains fall off of you. You're going to be liberated in places you've never been liberated before, free to express yourself, free to discover yourself, free to move into avenues that were controversial, because God did not call you to repeat somebody else's success. God wants to take you where no man has ever gone before, to do things that no woman has ever done. Oh, God. What do you think he meant when he said, I will do a new thing in you? God wants to do something fresh in you. In order to do that, you have to go to God and say, Lord, give me my dream. Give me the dream that you have for me. This comes from communing with God. Give me the dream that you have. And God is so specific. If you will get in his face and wait and stop running off with half the information, God will give you a complete picture of what he's going to do in your life. It will include who you need to be around, how you need to dress, where you need to go, how you need to conduct yourself. What do you think it means when it says the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord? God is going to give you details, specifics. He has a dream for your life, but you have to seek him. And in order to seek him, you have to shut up your ears against what everybody's saying and hear what the Spirit of the Lord is saying down inside of you, so you can find out what God has for you. The Bible says, deep calleth unto deep. Deep calleth unto deep. Deep calleth unto deep. The depth of God calling out to the depth in your human spirit. God begins to communicate with you and gives you a vision, a dream of what he's going to do with you in your lifetime. Whether you know it or not, you are spending your life right now. More important than your money, more important than your gas, more important than your clothes or anything else you possess. You are spending your life. Don't spend your life on something God didn't tell you to do. You need to rush into the face of God and say, Lord, show me myself. Show me what you have for me. Show me what your purpose is for my life. Help me to line myself up with your predestined, predetermined purpose, so that I can move into the center of your will for my life, and nudge me when I get there, so that the enemy doesn't trick me out of my place once I finally start. See, it's all right to talk to God like you're stupid. Say, Lord, I don't know. And when I know, you got to nudge me. And when I'm there, don't let me mess it up. And when I finally get it together, don't let me blow it. And don't let me go too far. And don't let me be too slow. And hold my hand and guide me and give me a signal till I finally... Oh, I feel glory about to hit this house. I feel the anointing of God. There's a reason you got out of bed this morning. The Lord wanted you to be here today. You have got to hear this message.
First of all, become a good storyteller. It's one of the best ways to persuade is to use stories. Jesus, master teacher, was the great storyteller of all time. He said the kingdom of heaven is like a man, it's like a woman, it's like this, it's like this. Always telling a story, human stories to illustrate what you're trying to get across. So become a good storyteller. Now, to be a good storyteller, you got to collect stories. It's one of the reasons for your journal. Okay. It's one of the reasons for your journal is to collect stories. Just don't miss any of the stories that can help you. Shelf said, Mr. Owen, not only be a student, but the good ideas that you develop from the books. Keep a separate journal. Write all this stuff down. Here's what he said. Don't trust your memory. If you're serious about becoming wealthy and powerful and sophisticated and healthy, influential, cultured, unique, keep a journal. Don't trust your memory. If you listen to something valuable, write it down. If you come across something important, write it down. Write it down. Now, I used to take notes on pieces of paper and torn off corners and backs of old envelopes and restaurant placemats and long sheets and narrow sheets and little sheets and pieces thrown in a drawer. Found out, best way, keep a journal. I've been keeping these journals now since age 25. It makes up a valuable part of my own learning, and it's a valuable part of my library. My own journals now form a good portion of my own library. The stuff. I'm trying to get kids to do like I do, be a buyer of empty books. Kids find it interesting I'd buy an empty book. Especially at my status in life. What did I pay for this one? $26. Kids say, $26 for an empty book? Why would you do that? Well, the reason I paid $26 is to press me, to see if I can't find something worth $26 to put in here. And I'm telling you, all my journals are private. But if you got a hold of one of my journals, you wouldn't have to look very far until you would say, this is worth more than $26. I must admit, if you got a glimpse of Mr. Rohn's journals, you'd have to say he is a serious student. Not just committed to his craft, but committed to life, committed to skills, committed to learning, to see what I can do with seed and soil and sunshine and rain and miracle and possibilities and turn it into equities of life and treasure, family relationships, enterprise, sales, management, gifts galore, everything you want, all available, especially in America. I'm asking you, keep a journal. I call it one of the three treasures to leave behind. Let me give you that. One of the three treasures to leave behind. Number one is your pictures. Take a lot of pictures. Did you ever look back, right? 2 or 3 generations, just a handful of photographs way back there. Wouldn't it be something if there was album after album, thousands of pictures to help tell the story? A picture's worth 1,000 words. Don't be lazy in capturing the event. How long does it take to capture the event? A fraction of a second. How long does it take to miss the event? A fraction of a second. Errors in judgment or disciplines. Take lots of pictures. Help tell the story. Click, click, got it. Click, click, got it. Keep. I go to Taiwan to lecture. Taipei, Taiwan. Grand Hotel. Neat place to do a weekend seminar. I got 1,000 students. Guess how many cameras? 1,000 cameras. They all bring their cameras. They wouldn't miss the event, take pictures. Takes me more time to take pictures than it does to do the lectures. Here's my new American friend. Here's my new American friend. Click, click, save it. Got it. 1,000 words, each one. What a scenario. Don't miss the pictures. When you're gone, one of the things to leave behind, the treasure in picture as well as in words. Next, your library. The library that you gathered, that taught you, that instructed you, that helped you to defend your ideals, that helped you to develop a philosophy, that helped you to become wealthy and powerful and healthy and sophisticated and unique. The library that helped you conquer some disease, the library that helped you to conquer poverty, the library that caused you to walk away from the ghetto, the library, the books that instructed you, fed your mind and fed your soul. Leave your library behind. One of the greatest gifts you can leave behind is your library. Stepping stones out of the darkness into the light, your library. So leave your books behind. Your books will be more valuable than your couch. Your books, your books, your books. And third is your journals. The ideas that you picked up. The notes you took at seminars like this. Wherever you found an occasion to gather something valuable and put it in here so you could go back over it, go back over it. Repetition is the mother of skill. Read it one more time, learn it one more time, see if you can digest it one more time. Let it coach you one more time. Let it teach you one more time. Let it inspire you one more time. Words are inspirational. The lyrics of a song. And not just read it once, That's why we put our stuff on cassettes so you can go through it again and again and again. If you hear a beautiful song that does something to you, you don't say, well, that's enough. Don't need to hear that again. No. Wouldn't you want to hear it again, hear it again, hear it again? Let it instruct you. Let it feed you. Let it teach you. Take you on wings of emotional journeys. Wouldn't you want to do that again? The answer is yes. That's what's so important. And here's what's important. One of the things to leave behind, that's your journals. All the stuff you took the meticulous time to gather. One of the greatest proofs that you're a serious student. Taking pictures, that's pretty easy. Buying a book at a bookstore, that's pretty easy. Here's one that's a little more challenging. Be student enough of your own life and your own future and your own destiny. Be student enough to take the time to keep the notes and keep the journal. You'll be so glad you did. What a treasure to leave behind when you go. Your journals. Wow, I wouldn't be without mine now. I'm in Carmel, California, one of my favorite places. It's where I wrote my first book called Seasons of Life. I went to this little church one Sunday morning. First time I'd been there. Little small church, I don't know, 150 people. Classic sermon that morning. Classic sermon. One of the best I've ever heard in all of my life. I happened to be there. And I had my journal. While this sermon is going on, I can't believe it was so precise. It was so unique. It was so powerful. And I've got my journal, and I'm taking notes. Taking notes of this classic sermon. Guess how many other people were taking notes? Approximately, guess. How many do you suppose? It looked like, best as I could tell, I'm the only one taking notes of this classic sermon. Now, since I'm a stranger there, and it's the first time I've been there, and I'm taking these notes, people started looking, who is he and what's he doing? I started feeling just a little bit uncomfortable. I'm still writing. Now I'm feeling kind of like a spy, right? I could hear some of them say, he's going to get out of here with some of this stuff. And I did. I'm the guy that walked away with the stuff. I'm asking you to be no less sincere and be no less committed to the advancement of your philosophy, the set of the sail.
Ready for Revolution. Welcome to another edition of Class is in Session. I don't even have to ask whether you received what was put out there this morning. I do not have to ask. We're going to excuse my untidiness. I'm not really done up. I've been working and flipping things over and remodeling and readjusting and repurposing. Okay. So I want to share some things with you this morning. Yesterday, I was pretty much out of pocket. I want to apologize for those who were trying to find me, particularly around that 2 o'clock hour where I was intended on doing the feed and the presentations for the training. But it couldn't have come any better than it did when Mr. Best and Mr. Dalco did their thing last night. I was out of pocket. I went through an audit yesterday. Wealth Builders. I'm talking about a spiritual audit. Okay. I'm not talking about financial IRS or IRS. I discovered something. When you're made to go through a series of recall where things are suppressed, things are, sometimes they were traumatic things that end up being blocks. Sometimes they were very joyful things and you only glean an aspect of it. Well, I discovered that my purpose with gold in Karatbars and wealth building was determined as far back as 1977. I was always on the road heading this way. You know, and it was a very emotional day yesterday when the auditor started unleashing all of these revelations in me. And she also left me a wealth building gift of $10,000 to get her accounts set up and her family's set up. And she said she had been waiting on me. I've been talking to this woman for 2 years. I've known her for 40. And she said she was waiting on me. And when I sat down to go through the experience, well, it had me tied up, to say the least. So yesterday, I found myself in our presentation talking about those things that support what you do to keep you focused on your organized effort for massive action. And I talked to you about all the gold that was around me. I mean, and when I'm talking about, I'm not talking about the gold itself, you know, the metal. I'm talking about everything was gold. I told you I even had gold paper clips. See that? Gold paper clips and gold books, right? I was gifted books from those two sisters, right? With gold writing and gold leaves on the pages. And I even have gold pens and all these things. They're only used in purpose. I never use them for other than its purpose. And that's psychological for me, you know, and I offer those things to you to help you to hone in on purpose. In the last few days, talking about the power of thinking, the science of thinking, determining our will, we've been dealing with intent. Intentional steps. All right. When you call on the universe, when you call on the creator, when you call on the creator with intention, he orders the steps of the universe to conspire to meet you in the intention. Yeah, it was really hard. There was only two people that were able to reach me. Even Mr. Best and Mr. Dalco couldn't reach me yesterday. And you know, they reach out, I'm there. You know, jump, how high? That's all I want to know. Couldn't even find me. There was only two people that were able to find me throughout the day yesterday. Sister Joy Voorhees. Excuse me. Sister Joy and Sister Gloria Bass. And they were able to find me in multiple points of yesterday in times where whatever stage of the audit had settled, they would jump right in. And I hope those 3 ways were as blessed as I felt like they were. And it's an amazing day. It was. So I asked Allah to bless me with a message this morning that would speak to the dreamer. I asked for it because, again, when you step with intention, the universe will conspire to produce it. Thus, T.D. Jakes. And if you couldn't hear intention in that message, I heard it with you. I didn't even listen to it when Allah gave it to me. I heard the message with you. Caught the ghost straight up. I got notes all over the place. I say all over the place in the book here, but you know, I have the notes. All right. And I want to go through a couple of them. We'll do our housekeeping last. Pregnant with purpose. That's all of us. We're all right now in this hour literally about to give birth. And all the little frustrations, all the little pains, all the anxieties related to everything carrot bars that you want to work now and it's not working just now, where you feel a little discomfort and you know, and all these things that are happening in small bites. They're contractions. And when that water breaks, you know it's about that time, right? Pregnant with purpose. That's all of us. Because, and what are we pregnant with? Something new, something fresh and significant in our lives. You see, and the dreams that we are now discerning between are the dreams that are solely ours and not those that are imposed on us. And those that are ours, we weed out those that are made of the flesh out of vanity to get the source of our purpose and to identify the source of our dream. We've been slaves to someone else's imagination practically all of our existence in the hills of North America. Practically all of our existence, we've been slaves to someone else's imagination. As children of abundance, someone determined that we should not have it. As children of abundance, someone determined we should not be free. But check this out. The God allowed it. Now, I know that may be a hard pill to swallow, but you have two types of will. You have the permissive will of the God and you have the active will of the God. The active will is the pandemic, as an example. The active will is the crash of economy, as an example. The active will is having no control of what he brings in the weather, in the calamities. Active will. Permissive will, when you're allowed to make a choice and now you have to live inside that decision. We've been slaves to someone else's imagination. Now, the clean glass has been placed next to the dirty glass. They both have the water you seek, but which one would you rather drink from? See, that experience has not been there for us before. Not in this dynamic, not in this way. You know, it's the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that taught us. He said, how do you make a truth plain? You just simply put the clean glass next to the dirty glass, and people with good sense will choose the clean glass every time. Because you don't want the truth tainted, so you don't want the dirty glass, right? But who is there to put the glass in front of us? We've had all the leaders, all the teachers, all the guides, all the prophets, all the warners, all the messengers. We've been through every time and circumstance, every vicissitude of life. We've been through it all through our readings, through our sojourn, through what we've visibly seen. We've seen the rise of people. We've seen the fall of people. We've seen the praise of people. We've seen the crucifixion of people. We've seen the birth of a new mind and a new movement, and we saw the assassination of the one that brought it. We don't need another teacher. What we need right now, if we don't get on our sense of purpose, we'll need the deserving whooping, not whipping, not a beating, not a lashing, a whooping. People running all out in the street, you know, shelter in place is the order, not by the people, not by the governments. The shelter in place is ordered by divine order. Step out that door, you dying almost. So I'm just going to talk straight. A group of rebellious young folk and older folk, because they were so thirsty to fellowship and be outside, stepped out in Florida Memorial Day weekend, and it made Florida the epicenter inside the United States for the COVID increase and pestilence. I want you to think about this now. I'm not saying that we should give weight to something so traumatic and deal it out of it in the negative. No, we recognize what it is so we can extract the positive out of it for us. Because we're in the ark. If you're sheltering in place, when I say sheltering in place, I mean now focusing your mind, arming your mind with the things that you need. You're creating an ark. You're creating an ark of spirit. You're creating a new sense of will behind your new sense of purpose, because it's a new world. Okay, all right. Rule out dreams of broken experiences. Throw out the old baggage. Don't allow someone's opinion. I didn't finish that point there. I think I'm gonna come back with Mr. Jakes tomorrow. Hey, brother Denon, assalamu alaikum. All right, you see what's going on there? All right, and then when you talk about life equity, we're gonna go to the slides. When we talk about life equity, what are we actually saying? What are we actually saying? Okay, the housekeeping rules. I'm not dismissing it. It's very important. The deadline for the the early bird tickets is midnight of August 18th Eastern. The 2020 Paper to Gold Run to Wealth Conference and Expo, www.runtowealth.info, www.runtowealth.info. Get your tickets. An $11 experience right now, $11 rather admission right now will grant you a multi-million-dollar experience on that day. Pay yourself first, period, and pay yourself in that which God has destined. Gold, his money. 10:45 a.m. today is the Mighty Power Call. This is Tell the Truth Thursday. I think we started that off pretty good. And today we're joined by Brother Dante Taylor. He'll be giving the presentation at 10:45 a.m. Eastern. 12 noon is the public wealth building presentation from Brother Rodney Roach. That will happen at 12 noon today. Make sure you're there and for it. And at 7:30, all of you who are new, all of you who are not fully clear on the fast track, the 90-day freedom fast track, join us at 7:30 today on our platform here, www.gorocks.info, and get into the 5 and 5 training. I will do a presentation today live on Facebook at 2 o'clock. I'm going to do that presentation on showing you how to qualify for the long-term incentives and carrot bars. I'm going to give you a formula rooted in the fast track. I talked about it, but I want to show it to you and show you that it works. Okay, so 10:45 a.m., www.gorocks.info. That's for our Mighty Power Call, Mr. Dante Taylor at 10:45 a.m. Eastern, 12 noon, Mr. Rodney Roach at 12 noon on the same platform. 2 o'clock, I'll be back here on my Facebook page and probably a few other pages. And then at 7:30, the coach of coaches, Mr. Al Murray, will be on Gold Rocks doing the 5 and 5 training. And Mr. Gregory or Professor Gregory McKay will follow up at 9 p.m. and on the same platform, all this on the same platform. And then at 10 o'clock this evening is the return of the Empower Call with Dr. Patrice and Lady Lisa Gordon and Miss Cheryl Ann Gober. All right. Oh, and Lucian the Solution Minton. Okay. So that's all happening here on Planet Gold Rocks. Kafani Radio has Restoration of Body and Soul with Sister Denise Renee Muhammad tonight at 9 p.m. on the Kafani Radio International page. Now let's get back to this moment. Why are we talking about legacy wealth? All right. Your story is life equity. Your story is life equity. Okay. It takes a lot. Take a lot of pictures, Mr. Rome said. It helps to tell the story. He said, you are a library. You know, you are a library. You are a book on two legs, folks. You are a book between two ears. Keep journals. Don't trust your memory solely to remember everything. And when you document, timestamp with dates so people can walk with you in your growth. People can walk with you in the time. People can have an understanding of context. It gives them the nuances and all the things that were involved in the moment you track the experience. A journal allows you to live forever. A journal is that life equity. What is life equity? Life equity represents ownership of who you are and the asset you have become by how you lived and chronicled your existence. You become a skills and lessons bank for your future generations and all who learn of your legacy. Your life is an asset that continuously stores treasure every second of the day. It has daily compounded interest and matures in the future generations as a no risk, ever increasing asset. Why is it that we find so much value in the words and the works of Jim Rohn? Why is that? Why do we find so much value in the works of a Miles Monroe? You know, in the works of Bob Proctor that we shared yesterday. That was an amazing stream from Dr. Proctor yesterday. Okay, why do we find so much in them? Because the period has been now placed at the end of their life. And as a result, now you can analyze them and see things in them that you could not see as they walked amongst us. We were blinded. They were hidden in plain sight. This is the experience you have right now. That's why it's so important to document. It's so important to tell your story. So Sister Joy asked for something yesterday, and it dealt with the spiritual connotations of numbers, the mathematical theology. There's a revolutionary theology associated with math, with numbers, 0 through 9. Okay. And as I wanted to give it to her yesterday, and it was on my mind a good portion of the day, when I went into the audit, that's when I knew when I'm supposed to share it. So this Saturday's class and session, it will be a class. It will be a class. I'm going to teach about being the student in student enrollment. We're going to have boards. We're going to have charts. You better have notes. And we're going to give you student. And I'll give you an insight into it this way. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Sister BJ said the planned return is now August 20th. Okay. It was a post from Cheryl Ann Gold, but thank you. So the Empower Call will not be tonight, 10 p.m. on Gold Rocks. So maybe we'll do another fast track. I don't know. We're fired up. I announced 7 packages yesterday. All right. Words or strike. Letters make up words. Words make up paragraphs. Paragraphs make up stories. And in that order, it creates a meaning. Sometimes multi-dimensional meanings. Past, present, future tense, past, present, future perfect tense. Those things happen. But just as every word has a definition, every letter also has a definition and has a meaning. So be ready for student, what it is to be a student, what it is to be you. Okay. And if that presentation by Law's Grace doesn't hone in on what it is to create life equity, I don't know what will, but we're going to do it this Saturday, 8 a.m. class in session. All right. It's not to say we're not going to be here tomorrow, but I know what we're going to do Saturday. All right. So let's find ourselves serious about our dreams. Let's find ourselves serious about what it is that we want. And understand, when you dream now, your dream can't be so abstract or general. You know, it can start off that way, but it can't remain that way. You know, when you have a goal, you say, what is your goal? I want to be wealthy. Well, what is it to be wealthy? You have to study wealth to hone in on exactly what it is that you're desirous of. When you have a monetary goal, well, it can't be like Bob said yesterday when the interviewer said, he said, well, you want to be rich. Well, how much money is rich? You know, and he said, a lots. He said, lots of money. He said, well, you can't have lots of, you got to be specific. You know, and he dealt some real, it was a real powerful string. I think all the class and sessions that God has blessed us to be a part of and do. I mean, this is the 93rd. We're coming into the 100th anniversary of class and session next week. You know, and we've grown in numbers each and every day, Monday through Saturday, every week. And God has been good. He's been kind. All right. But we have to focus now. We have to know who we are. You know, that definition that I offered of life equity, you know, it was something I pulled together because it came from me. But you have a stake in what it is that you represent to the world. And as a result, you'll refine that definition. You know, life equity represents ownership of who you are. See, that power to define yourself as something that's been stripped from us by the slave master and their children and this system. And we've always had a yearning to be who we are. Now, we didn't know necessarily what that was. We just knew there was more to us than life was dictating. So life equity represents ownership of who you are and the asset you have become by how you lived and chronicled your existence, your life. You'll become a skills and lessons bank for your future generations and all who learn of your legacy. Your legacy begins when we leave. Your life is an asset. It's an asset that continuously stores treasure. I mean, every second of the day, you gain an experience. It runs into the subconscious and it unearths itself through conscious activity in degrees. Chronicle those degrees. Remove things off of your conscience's plate so that more can come forward. It has daily compounded interest and matures in the future generations as a no risk, ever increasing asset. Your library, just imagine a library full of your journals, your books, your legacies, that which you live. You know, one of the greatest teachers on the planet to ever have not been known yet is our sister mentor, CeCe Mahone. This sister teaches. It oozes out of her. It's like a running faucet, and she gives it to you so basic, so elementary, so as matter of fact. You know, it's a heaven of an experience. Imagine if it's chronicled. Imagine if those, and not to say that it's not, I mean, I don't know, but just imagine if thoughts just came and they were written. Her sister Damawi, oh my God. You know, every time you turn around, there's another jewel, another gem flowing right out of her in poem and in prose and in rhyme and in rap. What happens when we write them down? I keep them. What happens when we write them down? What kind of legacy does it leave for those who will come after us? Wouldn't you love that your great, 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 great grandchildren, centuries away, can go to a bookshelf, go to a hologram, and open up what it was like to be you? So they have a greater understanding of why they're in the seat that they're in, why they sit in the chair they're in, why they walk the way they walk, talk the way they talk. We have life equity, and our life equity is based in the story that we tell. Okay, I think I beat that drum enough. I want to thank y'all for a very interesting classes and session this morning. Quite unorthodox. Please don't see me as self-serving. I was exposed to something yesterday that made me a little more personal and personable about what we're sharing today. I appreciate you for allowing me to share, and I don't look to abuse anyone's ears or anyone's time. Time is so precious, and I think that's what I'm really trying to convey. So we need to maximize all that we can with the time that we have and put our best foot forward. As Brother Dante Taylor always reminds me of, you got to go full throttle. Spare no expense on articulating freedom. Spare no expense in articulating freedom. Freedom as it means to you, Deb, Nixon, Roz, Range, not what it means to others. They may have a place in it, but as you define it in you, because the world is waiting on your voice. The world is waiting on you, Brother Danny D. James, and your brother Rich. I mean, look, man, I'm full. I got to get off. I got to get off. So I'm heading over to here, Sister Lakeisha McKnight, drop those nuggets. Then I'm going over to Brother Kansu Hotep Atum. I have a phone appointment just before the power call. I'll be on the power call. I'll be on the 12 o'clock. I'll be with us on Facebook at 2 p.m. live. And I'll be with you everywhere that I am. Thank you all so much. Remember, drive everybody to the Run to Wealth. Drive everyone, family, to, oh Lord. Drive everyone to everything we got. Drive everyone to classes and session. Be with us on Saturday. Be with us tomorrow. Be with us as long as you can. Okay, and let's make a new reality with this new sense of purpose, because we're pregnant with purpose. All right. Thank you again. It's been an honor, a privilege, and pleasure. I will see us on the other side of everything. But more importantly, for many of you who are here for the first time, we're going to see you on the other side of money where we are. All right. So peace and power. And I'll see us all in the power call and the subsequent meetings. Forward.
Peace. Strong words. Love. Soul. And change. Yeah, this is Big Snoop Dogg. Coming at you live and direct. And I got something to say. You dig?
Let's change the world. Divided we fall, but united we stand. Let's change the world. No fights, no wars. Oh, let's learn to love again. Let's change the world. Let's change the world. Let's change the world. Whoa, oh, oh. Let's change the world. Let's change the world. Let's change the world. Let's make hope for the future.
Brother, 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 what will you discover if we come together and do it like we never? I'm just sick and tired. I'm fit to light the fire. Now put this on the wire. The devil is a liar. I do this with no hesitation. Meet me at the reservation. Elevating, educating, meditating, concentrating. Replenisher, finisher, opposite of sinister. And I do it for the minister.
Let's change the world, divided we fall, united we stand. Let's change the world, no fights, no wars, oh, let's learn to love again. Let's change the world, let's change the world, let's change the world. Let's change the world, let's change the world, let's change the world. Let's make hope for the future.
Somebody need to stop the war. Man, the war ain't overseas, it's at your front door. And I done seen too many brothers shot up on the floor for more than drugs and some colors. And now you call us warlords. But if you can help it, then help it. But you ain't helping us. You so selfish and selfless, you wanna see us breathless and helpless. But I'ma hustle to tussle for all my brothers who struggle. Yeah, we bang the world. Now let's change the world.
Let's change the world, divided we fall, united we stand. Let's change the world, no fights, no wars, oh, let's learn to love again. Let's change the world, let's change the world, let's change the world. Let's change the world, let's change the world, let's change the world. Let's make hope for the future.
No killing, no shooting, no dying, no lying, no gang banging, so no more mamas crying. Everybody get along, man, that be the perfect song. Peace in the streets as I sit back on my phone, chilling with the president. He let me in the White House, back to the castle with the minister, no doubt. Shoes at the front door, love is what you come for. Let's get it right and unite, but do it front
Let's change the world, divided we fall, but united we stand. Let's change the world, no fights, no wars, oh, let's learn to love again. Let's change the world, let's change the world, let's change the world. Whoa, let's change the world, let's change the world, let's change the world. Let's make hope for the future.